Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'll spare you my thoughts on Tarantino in general and jump straight into this one. So, Tarantino is openly celebrating the idea of media celebrity, of a certain public narcissism, validating the grotesque arrogance of someone I don't consider Australian anymore, as believable as her performance is in this film as a result. Tarantino had dealt with postmodern amorality before. Inglourious Bastards was a celebration of vengeful revenge movie violence as the way to defeat Nazi Germany in the Second World War. It's not perfect, it's a bit closer to The Dirty Dozen than Apocalypse Now, that might be fair, but that film was relentlessly, filmic, cinematically adventurous, a series of exciting, compelling, unforgettable vignettes, regardless of the sloppy or non existent moral convictions. Did it require any? Tarantino is flying the flag of the amoral, indifferent, edgy end of history 90s to this very day. Django Unchained could be considered in a very similar respect. The slaughtering of white supremacist slave owners is a celebration or vindication of violence, or an amoral observer chewing popcorn with glee as two human tribes go to war. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood harkens back to those two. It depicts that idyllic Hollywood as Camelot zeitgeist, prior to the cynicism and morbidity which resulted from the Manson killings, wherein these characters who celebrate and perform graphic violence and flourish in the sexual revolution on screen are altering history for the sake of composing a new future wherein a degree of life is a jungle, fists protect beautiful females, the celebrity is the highest form of a human. Tarantino's blissful naive childhood, more or less. It makes a lot of sense that Tarantino novelized this film because the exploratory amorality would be fitting to that existential school of ponderous, polemic American allegorical literature. Think No Country for Old Men. Would that film adaptation be scholarly for amorality? Well, it certainly didn't try to milk humour and popcorn fun from the circumstances which Tarantino could or has been accused of before, especially wherein its vague vignette focus is concerned, an approach partly borrowed and employed more so even than in Inglourious Bastards. It is a completely thoroughly entertaining film, although I wonder what the point of it all is, other than fun, although Tarantino's statement that the film was intended as a fairy tale of the 1960s Hollywood, which is formative upon him, the intent, if any, falls into some place. Though fairy tales, despite being not meant to be glued to our reality, are sometimes expected to have some moral. What was the moral of this story? If anything, it was that everyone is redeemable and shouldn't weigh themselves down in guilt, and that the Manson family, representing the embittered, spiteful outcasts, resentful of a certain genetic or economic hierarchy, are those who would seek to tarnish this proposed utopic human ecosystem. Most people might say, AOD is just a fun movie, no need for such intensive analysis, but Tarantino himself is trying to scold everyone else for not being sensitive or progressive enough, not up to his dubious standard. So I'll question his ethics if I like. He can ask me to stop if he likes. I might be flattered enough that he cares to cease. Because I actually don't know if he has directed a film I did not enjoy, even if I would question the purpose or certainly function of maybe a quarter of them. Certainly concerning his free 90s films, I am a shameless celebrator of them. Regarding the 21st century, I have somewhat mixed feelings. I'm the most fond of Bastards from this millennium, though aside from that, based upon the performance's memorability, editing enthusiasm, filmic versatility, and brazen, admittedly bold imagination of his 2019 title, yes, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be my next choice, quite confidently, and I'll happily see whatever he chooses to direct and release next. Keep it up. Oh, I remember I waited, I think, a year to watch this one, actually. Why? I'm not a very likable person. A lot of people I knew in real life, essentially normies, so certainly where films are concerned, I'm such a cunt, I'm well aware, who know that I'm very impassioned about films and have made and still try to make my own films, ask me what I thought of the film so they can hear me, as they would predict, praise it, as film fans are wont to do with these sort of titles usually, and then they can tell me their take, positive, negative, or a bit of both in order to see how I react to it, how this film fan is provoked, oh, I didn't think it was that genius, what are you going to do about it? I really don't care. I would tell people I haven't seen it, just so I didn't have to hear what they thought of it. Or at least, just briefly, they won't share with you too much if you say you hadn't seen it yet. I know it's a really arrogant and putrid thing to do, but the worst part is, honestly, I intend to keep doing it for the rest of my life, just to spite those normies who want to shock me with their cute little pathetic takes. Ah, oh well, I liked the film, and if you comment here your thoughts, I won't disdain you. A lot of internet interaction is voluntary, I can shut off the screen. It isn't entailing someone breathing in my face, and that's just great. And I like all of my commenters thus far. Love this movie, hate it, indifferent toward it, all are welcome here on the AOD.